Today, I'm going to clarify the case of first impression for the S Small Business Corporation. I'm sure the owners are worried if they file bankruptcy, would automatically terminate the S Corporation or not. Clearly, I was a petitioner front of Judge Rowe in the U.S. Tax Court, Alphonse Morad versus the Commissioner of Internal Revenue. My argument front of Judge Rowe was very simple. In the bankruptcy court, Judge Carol Kenner, in the confirmation plan, she gave ownership to the trustee to qualify for tax credit of $12 million. Only the owner, Alphonse Morad, who owned the S Corporation, 100% of the stock, had 10 years uninterrupted. The trustee could not qualify for a tax credit unless he stepped on my shoes, and therefore he is the S Corporation. Judge Rowe, I'm sure he did not sleep nights. He probably had all his clerk doing some research and saying, get me out of this mess. If I rule that Stephen Gray in the bankruptcy court was appointed owner and he sold the land and he kept the profit, we will have a serious protest on marches in America because the S Corporation will no longer trust in filing bankruptcy for reorganization. This will really create a problem for the judges in America and the bankruptcy court. So he found an easy way to cover up the ownership. That was my main argument from him. And to say the S Corporation does not terminate upon filing the bankruptcy. He is correct. My argument, it did terminate once Judge Carol Kenner appointed the trustee the owner, therefore is no longer becomes an S Corporation, it's a C Corporation, because I was ousted out. She said, I have no equity, no interest. The trustee said, if you step on the property, I'll have you arrested. And her confirmation plan, she basically said there will be no distribution of profit or interest to Mr. Morad. So I'm out. So here's a trustee, sells the property in 1997. He makes a profit, $2,088,000. And then this case was appealed to the First Circuit, and therefore there were three judges sitting on that appeal: Judge Torello, Judge Lynch, and Judge Coffin. Clearly, Judge Torello, I have filed a complaint on Chief Judge Carol Kenner. He dismissed it. Then I filed a complaint on him to the 8 judges in the First Circuit, and that was dismissed. Judge Torello sat on 2 cases, the Hennepin and King, which he should recuse himself. Then he sat on the case of first impression as well. And therefore, and there was another case. So clearly, he's the one who delivered the victory to the governmental entities and the Jewish developers on a silver platter. Judge Lynch, I will link her oral argument, and I will link also the motion of reconsideration, and she responded one word: denied. Clearly, the exhibits, they show the fact the trustee applied for a tax credit in 1997. That's contradictory to the IRS attorney who said he applied in 1998 after the sale. That was fraud on Teresa McLaughlin of the U.S. The IRS tax court. Therefore, this case is nothing about fraud, misrepresentation. Perjury has been committed on the bankruptcy court. The trustee filed an affidavit. He has no relationship with my attorney. In the meantime, there was another case. The trustee and my attorney, they were both friends of Judge Kenner. Judge Kenner knew. So therefore, for the owners, will you ever be in that situation? Not the next 100 years. There was a special case of a Jewish takeover with the U.S. corrupt government. It took 10 years for them to figure out how they were going to oust Morad. That became kind of a controversial on affordable housing. He renamed his place Mandela in 1987 after Nelson Mandela when he was in prison. He protested the apartheid in South Africa. He started a movement to have part of Roxbury, Mandela here, to become incorporated city called Mandela, seceded from Boston. And therefore, the governmental entities, the city, the state, the federal government, the state revenue, including the media, the Boston Globe, they had to oust Al Morad because Morad put a 70-foot sign on his building. Each letter, 10 foot, spells Mandela. And I said, white line and stop at that sign. And the new city annex will be separated, will have its own mayor called Mandela. So I was the main finance owner who really invested serious money in programs as far as the health center, the Mandela Town Hall, Mandela Research Center. And therefore, I had a little city to work with. Consisted of 22 buildings, 6.5 acres of land. And therefore, the city of Boston expanded and they want to put high-rise building and there is no more. They revitalize the waterfront, the city itself, and now they need to expand just like Israel needs to expand, and they have demand of more Israeli settlement when I move into Israel. So this is about the same illegal taking over someone else's land. The blueprint is no different what happened to Alphonse Morad here in America, and is no different to what's happening in Israel. The difference here, they have a rubber stamp judges, the FBI covered up, the U.S. Attorney covered up, the U.S. Justice covered up, the media slandered me, and even I written a letter to President Bush, U.S. Justice, was all negative because was like, you ever watch a Navy SEAL? They do physical assassination. Well, here they did political assassination on an Arab American, which is me, Alphonse Morad, and my family. They even worked with my bank to discount, which I was able to pay him 100% on the dollar. They took 50% on the dollar. They foreclosed on me. I was evicted, and I have lived with no money except family help and outside help for 20 years. This is a long story. I hope some publishing company will be interested in this case. And I'd love to put it out there. It has a combination of black discrimination. Morad was crucified for taking a stand behind the sign Mandela after Nelson Mandela to separate. And I watched the discrimination in America to Arab Americans as well as the blacks and the Hispanics. We don't have a representation in America, and those judges had a field goal. Now, this case was tried in front of, I did it as a pro se, in front of Judge Rosenthal, same issues, was also tried in front of Judge Gale, same issue, and was tried in front of Judge Rowe, and therefore also the first appeals circuit with Judge Coffin and Judge Torello and Judge Lynch. So you could see it was all goodbye, Morad. You're only going to get one word, denied. Your property was taken over. The trustee made $2.8 million. The corporation was dissolved via management in August 1998. Then the trustee comes back and he had another year of profit, 1999, of $540,000. So this guy pocketed like $3 million, and there isn't a single judge ask one simple question: where is the money? Did Mr. Murad receive the gain from the sale? Did it go to him? Because I'll make him pay. Otherwise, he'll be indicted and go to jail. They all kept quiet. None of them said after the sale and the corporation dissolved, where's the money came from in 1999? Over $500,000. Who took it? They were all silent. Nobody questioned what happened to the money. They put the blame in Alphonse Murad. He is the S Corporation. All the profit flows to him, except Murad. We feel bad for him. He got nothing. He lost his $12 million tax credit belonged to him. He lost the $3 million of profit belonged to him. He lost 15 years of hard work. And then they took off 22 buildings, sits on 6.5 acres of land, house 1,500 African American blacks and Hispanics. They're all in the Section 8. I had a dream to deed those units to them so they will become owners and they no longer will be displaced, and the gentrification will stop at the Mandela sign. They were successful. Clearly, there was a total legal assassination. None of the media in America will ever write about my story. How could a man own $800,000 a day to the IRS? What happened to the $2,088,000? What happened to the 1999 $540,000? Who took the money? The trustee, actually, he was the owner. He should have paid the taxes. If the judges have done that, then we won't be in litigation. It was over when I was ousted out. But the trustee was greedy. He didn't want to pay the taxes, and he wanted Alphonse Murad to pay the taxes on the profit he never received. Shocking. So I'm going to go a little bit further with that. Now let's go into the Palestinian cause. If the judges here, they ruled that the S Corporation does not terminate upon the filing, well, clearly it's the same thing. The Palestinians did not terminate their ownership when Israel kept expanding and taking their illegal land. It's the same thing. Technically today, to 7 federal judges, the Palestinians today, they are the original owner, just like Alphonse Murad, and they are responsible to pay the taxes on the land they owned, although Israel occupies it all. I think this case should set precedents. Who is paying the taxes? Who's responsible for the Palestinians? This is a clear case. Israel could not today be a legitimate state because illegal taking lands from innocent people and other countries because they are financed by the U.S. while over there military taking it over. What I hear is it's political by a rubber stamp judges with all the city, state, governmental agencies. It's called the takeover. So it's probably the first case of Jewish takeover right here in America to an Arab American citizen who came here over 50 years ago to be part of the American dream. What happened to that American dream became a nightmare. But there is enough documentation, over $10 million of documentation here, that eventually it will help others. I'm over 70. I'm not going to get any benefits except maybe publishing a book, and that's all there's left. But that would be very educational to the Black communities, to the Middle Eastern, because we've been discriminated here in America as an Arab Americans. I don't understand why America is going to the Middle East for democracy. We got more problem of discrimination here across this nation than anywhere in the world. So therefore, this rhetoric, we're there for the people, the citizen, and democracy, has to stop. Don't insult us. We know why you are there, and clearly not for the citizen. So now I will do the next video. Google has just put me on the blacklist. They don't like the domain name, the Jewish takeover. So therefore, they basically shut that down. And I will respond to Google and the media what happened to Alphonse Mourad by the Boston Globe of all the articles, take me as a Lebanese immigrant, extremist, Lebanese immigrant who basically stole money, violated Section 8. All this 9 years, one Jewish journalist after another. There is over 12 Jewish individuals who were involved on the Jewish takeover. That's why I get the title. I mean, it's common here in anywhere in the world. If you have 4 American spies, what do you say in the headline? You say American spies. You're not going to go into their names. If there's a Middle Eastern doing any kind of action, you're going to say Middle Eastern, whatever regional country they come from. Well, here, Howard Cohen, the billionaire, the CEO of Beacon Residential Property, and the judge is Jewish, Judge Rosenthal and Judge Carol Kenner, and the attorney who put me in receivership, Saul Shapiro, and another attorney. There was all kind of perjury, all kind of fraud by these. So that was actually a Jewish takeover. No one could pull this one here unless the powerful Jewish takeover with the lobbyists behind them, with the politician behind them, in order to succeed and oust this Arab American out of his investment and put him indigent and homeless. I will get back to you on the next video of the FBI cover-up, and I will get back to you on the Jewish takeover media. And hopefully this will clarify the S Corporation does not terminate. You will never see another case like this. And you don't have to worry anymore about filing bankruptcy. Don't be confused. Don't let your attorney confuse you. This is one of a case in the history of taxation, and there will never be another case like it. Life goes on. Don't waste your money on research. You are fine. This was directed only to an Arab American, Alphonse Mourad, who happened to own 276 units in the city of Boston. And therefore, I will attach the link of the oral argument in the First Circuit appeal, also the motion of reconsideration and the exhibits. If you, and the oral argument, so examine those on your own, and you will reach the conclusion. And I did it all for you. I'll see you on the next video.